Are you pregnant?
Or are you trying to get pregnant right now? Well, not right now at this moment, but
Not exactly at this
are
moment.
you actively trying?
In general, are you actively trying to get pregnant? If so, you are definitely in the right place. The top 3 goals that we hear from 90% of the moms that we have the opportunity to take care of are having a happy pregnancy, having a pain-free, healthy pregnancy, and having an easy, natural labor and delivery. So if one of those goals or all 3 are any of your goals, then you're definitely in the right place, and we have some amazing information to share with you right now.
So we know that the body goes through a tremendous amount of changes during pregnancy, and in a fast, short order as well.
Yes, there is so much growth and development taking on, and their moms' bodies change so quickly. It's even amazing just to see. You know, it's like if you have a kid, you put them to bed one night, they wake up the next morning, and all of a sudden you're like, holy moly, who are you? Like, you changed overnight. That's what happens when you're pregnant. We see it all the time, and it can get very stressful for women. Pregnancy can be stressful at times. What food should you be eating? What products should you be using? What food should you not be eating? What products should you be avoiding? What supplements?
How much water? Can I drink coffee?
Right, all of those things. And then, of course, let's not forget about the fears of being a future mom. Am I going to be a good mom?
Do the right thing.
Am I going to do the right thing? What was I thinking? Pregnancy can get difficult and challenging at times, but we are all absolutely 100% capable of overcoming all of that and developing into the best moms ever.
And our goal is to do whatever we can to help women achieve that as their ultimate goal.
Definitely. We love taking care of pregnant moms. We love
all types.
All types, whether you're a first-time mom, whether you are having your 5th rodeo,
5th or 6th, yeah.
whether you want to achieve a VBAC delivery. There is a different level of support provided for each of those situations. And we just love dealing with all of them because they all have their specialness about them. And that's what we thrive on in our offices.
And so one of the common threads through all of those is stress, like we talked about. So let's talk for a little bit here about the effect of stress on pregnancy and on the mom and the fetus and developing baby, but also what we can do to minimize the effect of stress on the body.
Right. You know, a lot of times we hear from the different OBs, midwives, doulas in our town and our community around us that they love seeing the benefits of chiropractic care because of the impact that it makes on the moms, and that a lot more of these providers are recommending chiropractic care as part of, and chiropractors as part of the maternity team for pregnant moms because they see such a positive impact on the pregnancy, the labor, the delivery, and the healing time that the moms go through postpartum. So
let's talk about why.
Yeah, so why does that happen? And I am Dr. April.
Dr. Chris.
Dr. Chris from Vivo Chiropractic. We always tend to just forget to introduce ourselves, so now you know who we are. So yes, Dr. Chris, let's talk about the stresses of pregnancy.
So in terms of stress in general, your body has 2 modes for stress. There's the fight or flight, right? And that's really protection mode. And then the other mode is growth and healing. And those 2 modes are mutually exclusive. So when you're in fight or flight, your body shifts into one set of processes, and that's that high stress process. And so the problem with that is it puts a strain on your body. It creates stress hormones that go through your body. And again, if you had to run for your life, that mode is good. The problem is because of our brain, we're allowed and we have the ability, the only animal on the planet that has the ability to be in a life or death stress mode mentally and physically when we're not actually at risk of dying at that moment.
Right.
Our body doesn't know the difference when that switch is on. And so that has a lot of effect on the body.
Right, and on your mentality as well. So as Dr. Chris was saying, when we feel that we're in that stress mode, that fight or flight. This is when we start to experience the not good feelings of stress, of anxiety, of discomfort,
Bad sleep.
of digestive upsets like heartburn, like tons of morning sickness, constipation. Am I missing any?
Bloating, diarrhea for some people. Everyone manifests it a little bit different.
Tension in general. So
And weakened immune function when you're in that stress state as well.
Sure.
Stress reduces our immune system.
And so when we're in that stress mode, that is also going to be a huge negative on the growth and development of the fetus. So we don't want to be in that mode anytime. It's not fun. It doesn't feel good. And we certainly don't want to feel like that. That's not helping us reach our goal of having a happy pregnancy. So what's the opposite of that?
Well, we want to get on the brakes, right? Not just slam on it. We're going to pump those brakes, slow
Right.
down the train a little bit, get back to the normal forward progression pace.
Right.
And when we do that, your body will shift into growth mode. In growth mode now, digestion improves, immune function improves, and when you're in that mode, oftentimes sleep and relaxation are more easily found. Your brain's
Definitely
not
right.
racing, your mind's not going at 100 miles an hour.
And I think something important to keep in mind too is, we know that we have to watch the foods we eat, right? We avoid things like shellfish. We avoid things like drinking unfiltered water. Processed food, too much sugar, too much caffeine. We watch the products that we put on ourselves, but then we're not thinking about the fact that so why are we worried about those things? Because we know it's going to affect the baby, it's going to affect the development of the baby. Well, guess what else affects the baby and the development of the baby? Stress. When mom is stressed, baby is stressed. When mom is stressed and we have a stressed baby when they're born, guess what that looks like? What does that look like?
Colicky babies, latching issues potentially,
Stressed
out babies.
Lots of unhappy, crying little babies.
The babies want to be held all the time. They don't want to be put down.
Because they're always in that protective mechanism. So we want to avoid that. We want happy mommies. We want happy babies.
Now, we don't have a magic wand, so we can't just...
We ordered it. It hasn't gotten here.
It's on back order.
It's on back order.
So because we wish we could just make your stress go away, but that's not possible. However, the research has shown that chiropractic can, in fact, improve your body's ability to handle stress. We all have a certain amount of stress that we can handle, and it's different for everyone.
Right.
A certain level that we can handle before we break, before we snap, before the body has a failure, before you get sick, whatever your body's reaction is. There's only so much you can take. It's called the adaptive potential. We want to maximize or increase that so your body will be less affected by the stresses that you can't avoid. And obviously, if you can reduce stresses purposefully and intentionally, that's going to be beneficial as well. If you work it from both ends, you're going to get the best potential outcome.
Absolutely. And so a lot of the challenges that we see moms coming in that are preventing them from having a happy pregnancy, from feeling pain-free throughout that time, from having the natural vaginal delivery. Well, we don't get too many of those when we work with women. So I'll have to think if I've had any. I don't think so. But here's what women do come in with and do seek out chiropractic care for. Low back pain. Makes sense.
Sciatica,
right?
pain going down the leg,
right?
Quite common.
Headaches.
Especially third trimester.
Yes.
As the belly gets bigger, the posture changes. You have to shift back more to counterbalance that weight. Puts more pressure on the lower back and on the pelvis.
Right. Headaches is another big one that moms come in with, as well as groin pain from pubic symphysis dysfunction, round ligament pain that is part of our uterus, and then also the pelvic alignment being off. So we're going to get into that right now. That is what we use to help align the pelvis is something called, that you have probably heard of if you've looked into it at all, the Webster Technique. In unison. So let's talk about the Webster Technique.
So it's about balancing out the pelvic structure, all the ligaments, muscles, tendons, bones. And so just to give you an idea,
we're going to show you what this looks like.
So maybe do just half and half.
So let's do, this is the front.
Here, right? You can see that's the front of the pelvis.
Oh, that's good.
And you can see that's the hole, that's the pelvic outlet where the baby is actually going to pass through during delivery. And so what's really crazy, you can see some of the ligaments, that's the gray structure. Those are bone to bone structures. So there's a few you see there, but when we get to the back of the pelvis, look at all those ligaments. You can't even barely see your sacrum and your tailbone. They're completely covered by ligaments.
Right.
And so that's what keeps the 3 bones of your pelvis, 1 in the middle, 2 and 3 on either side, working together, moving together, maintains that shape, but allows that flexibility. Problems arise when the pelvis gets twisted or shifted.
So let's show them the way we had thought earlier, because I thought that that was brilliant, and then we can talk about how the Webster Technique. And we even have, as you can see, we are in our son's room.
Yeah.
And this is this was one of Christopher, our older boy's favorite little babies.
Yeah. Little
and now
newborn.
it's our baby Alexander. He's not a baby anymore, he's 2.
Yeah.
But he has come to now love baby, and it's just about the size of a real baby. So we're going to use this to show you.
So getting back to that pelvis
Yes.
shape. So imagine the sacrum would be on top. That's the triangle piece. And then here's the left and right side of your pelvis. And when everything is lined up, there's a great opening. And that's what allows the baby's head to be able to pass through.
Actually, we'd be like this.
We'll be coming down. Yep.
This is where we want to be.
Right. So, however, when that pelvis gets twisted, now that space is closed down, and that's what can make labor and delivery much more challenging.
So imagine,
and increases the probability, the chance of a C-section, which we'd like to avoid if possible.
Correct.
For all women.
So imagine, here's baby in here. We want baby head down. Can you pretend to let baby in here? Right. Now imagine baby, now this would be a baby in 3rd trimester. So imagine the stress on this baby as they grow and grow and grow, and the pelvis of taking more pressure on it because the baby's getting bigger, mom's gaining weight, right? And so that's putting even more stress and strain on the baby, and the pelvis continues to torque and twist and put pressure. And then you can even see from that just super easy example of how easily and quickly babies can have issues getting into proper positioning and being able to maneuver within the pelvic cavity as they grow and develop.
Exactly. So during the course of the pregnancy, the baby moves around, and you know, moms that are in their 2nd and 3rd trimester know all about it, right? They feel about it. Head's over here. Oh, he's kicking me over here. It's on this side now. They're moving. So sometimes they're head up, sometimes they're head down. Sometimes of us
they're sideways.
We want them. Exactly. Right? We want them head down. But if that pelvis is twisted up and they grow enough, they can get to a point where they physically can't rotate in the pelvis, and that's what the Webster Technique seeks to prevent.
Correct.
Throughout care during the whole pregnancy.
Correct.
You know, unfortunately, a lot of times we get women that are coming as a last resort, and they're coming far late in the term of the pregnancy.
Right.
And while we do help a lot of those women, the odds go down. The closer you get to the due date, the bigger the baby is, the less chance that the baby's going to be able to get in that right position. That's why it's so important to keep those ligaments, muscles, and tendons fluid and that pelvis moving throughout the entire pregnancy.
Correct, and as stable as possible. So with the Webster Technique, it's a 3-prong approach. And what it is we're looking at the 3, as we just showed you in the picture, the bones, the ligaments, and the muscles. And so through that balancing of the pelvis, it allows that opening to stay nice and wide through the entire pregnancy. So there's always ample space for the baby to maneuver, as Dr. Chris just showed you, as they grow and develop. And to, most importantly, to be able to get into that head down position for that natural vaginal birth that all moms want, that literally every single mom that comes in has that as a goal every time. I can say that with 100% certainty. So we are there to help and make that, do everything within our power to assist that process.
And so that's why, you know, we've gone and all of our docs have been certified in the Webster Technique, because it's been shown to be the single most effective technique in the world.
Correct.
To balance that pelvis, to keep it fluid and stable, and to give the best possible outcome
with minimal interventions and minimal, you know, need for emergency C-section, as Dr. Chris had mentioned. So, you know, that brings me to recalling a story about, hearing a story about baby Daryl. So baby Daryl was the third child of this family. And the first 2 pregnancies for mom, in her own words, were traumatizing. She was totally miserable. She had hip pain and sciatic pain throughout the entire pregnancy.
Debilitating pain.
She couldn't work the last month of both pregnancies, so she started getting depressed. She went through period of depression, which is just, I just hate hearing that, because pregnancy should be the most happy time of all of our lives. So that's not what we want to hear. That's what we want to avoid. The labors, number 1 was 17 hours long. Labor number 2 was 19 hours long. 19 hours. She couldn't dilate past 3 centimeters, and even when...
So just, 8 to 10 is where the goal is to be able to actually have a successful delivery?
So even when they did go to medical intervention and giving her Pitocin, it still took hours even after that for her to finally be able to dilate to the 10 centimeters.
And it's not comfortable when you force that dilation
Correct.
with Pitocin.
So with going through that process, she suffered with postpartum anxiety. She couldn't sleep. Her whole body was aching. And literally she said, I was traumatized. Now fast forward, no plan of having a third baby. 2's good. Been there, done that. Hated them both. So it breaks my heart as a chiropractor and a mom. So fast forward to pregnancy number 3. Finds out she's pregnant. What does she do?
You're going to do something different this time.
But total freak out.
Well, yeah, freak out.
Total freak out. Total meltdown. Total like, oh my God, no. This can't, why me? Why is this happening? I don't want this. And then she just thought,
she gets over that.
Okay, it's going to be different this time. Like, God put me here in this purpose for a reason. Here I am with this baby. I'm going to make it be different this time.
So she did some research. She started figuring out what could she do differently? How could she improve the outcome of pregnancy number 3?
Right. And so she started researching, and she found prenatal chiropractic. And
the Webster Technique.
And she specifically found chiropractor that was specializing in prenatal and pediatric care. And she went and saw them not at week 35, but at week 10. So as soon as she felt that joint pain, that old uncomfortable familiar joint and back pain coming in, she's like, oh no, not again. She went to the chiropractor. She started getting adjusted. She had a completely different experience. She had
less pain, more mobility.
But she also had, the number one thing that she said was she felt better mentally and emotionally, that the mental and emotional toll was significantly decreased while she was under care.
And part of it for her was that she could continue to work all the way up through the end of the pregnancy as well.
Right. She said she didn't feel like crawling under a rock for the pregnancy. She found that she had more patience for her other 2 children while she was pregnant, which is huge. And then I have to giggle when she said, my husband didn't hate me. And she was able to and she was able to work up to 40 to 50 hours a week, and 10 or more hours of that a day was on her feet. And she did all of that while enjoying the pregnancy, feeling laughter, feeling patience, feeling loving in her family unit. So a completely different experience for the pregnancy.
And the biggest change was she added the chiropractic and Webster Technique.
Right. The delivery for number 3, labor number 3, was 6 hours long, not 17 hours, not 19 hours,
1/3 of the time.
Hours.
1/3 of the time.
She dilated to 10 centimeters in 45 minutes, you guys. 45 minutes with no intervention.
Because she wasn't in that fight or flight mode. She wasn't stressed out. She wasn't on the gas pedal in that, protection mode. She was relaxed. She was in that healing state. She had pumped the brakes, slowed it down, and just went through the whole process slow, smooth, and steady.
And the delivery was quick and as easy as you could hope it would be. We know it's work to deliver a baby, right, moms? But it was as easy as you could hope that it would be. Postpartum, she felt like her body recovered 100% healing. The baby was great. Happy baby, thriving baby, and quote, phenomenal sleeper. So, I mean, literally a completely night and day experience, first 2 pregnancies to the 3rd.
And that experience number 3, that's the experience that we want for every pregnant woman out there.
Yes.
That's why we're here right now. That's why we do what we do. That's why we focus our practices towards prenatal and pediatric chiropractic.
Yes.
We feel like that's the place where we can make the biggest difference. There's so many women that are going through this that are missing a member on the team. You know, we're all play a different role. And chiropractic, we think, is an essential member of your maternity team.
Absolutely.
There's things that chiropractors do, the Webster Technique in particular, that no other practitioner out there does. And I mean, for me, the thought of going through that whole process without that, it would be like, sorry, I'm a car guy, would be like going to the racetrack on race day without double checking your alignment, you know, or your tire pressures, whatever that is. It's like, for me, it's like, let's get everything lined up good. Let's get ready so we can have a
best case scenario, like everything as good as it can possibly be to have the delivery of our mommy dreams. So in our lifetime, while we're in this profession, which I don't ever see us not being in, we look forward to seeing a chiropractor be on part of the maternity team for every mom, every pregnancy, every time. So,
and check that baby every time within 24
yes, and
hours
to
of
check
being
the baby
born.
as well. If we could see a chiropractor be on the maternity team of every mom, everywhere, every time, and have there be a check for the baby right after they're born, that would be amazing.
Huge change. And
Huge shifts in the outcomes in our humble opinion.
So the key is to look for a chiropractic office that specializes in prenatal and pediatric care, and in our opinion, should also have Webster Technique certification.
Correct.
To get you the maximum possible outcome. If you have difficulty locating one by you, feel free to contact our office, and we'll be happy to find someone for you that's nearby that can help you or your family or your wife or your friends or whoever it is that you're thinking about right now get through and have an amazing pregnancy and find that missing team member of their maternity team.
Absolutely. I mean, we're in Connecticut. We're happy to help as many people as we can. We're also here for you to use as a resource, as a tool to find a provider. So if we're talking to you, yay, feel free to reach out to us in all of the usual ways. And then
spread this around too.
And
share
spread this around. If you have a friend that's having any trials of pregnancy, family member, coworker, please share this and, you know, let them tag them in this, so that they can be aware of the information as well.
And the best time to get under chiropractic care is before you get pregnant.
Yes.
Right? To get the body operating as optimal as possible. As a matter of fact, separate video, a separate time, it can actually increase your chance of getting pregnant.
Right.
We don't have time for that today.
Right. That's another video.
That's another video. But the point is the sooner the better to get everything operating and in alignment and working at maximum, you know.
And that being said, completely agree with that 100%. Pregnancy care throughout the entire pregnancy, so important, just like your OB visits, just like your regularly scheduled visits.
And chiropractic and Webster is safe all the way through. When was the last time I adjusted you before you had Christopher Alexander?
Like right before I went into the hospital.
That morning at home. Like, we're going to leave, we're going to get in the car, can you adjust me before
last
we go?
thing before we go.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So.
Oh, I had something good and now I lost it. It doesn't matter. So we are here for you. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Yes, best time for care is from the very beginning, even before you know that you're pregnant is a good time. However, we will always help you no matter when you come to our office. That is what we are here to do, and we will do any and everything that we
Doesn't matter
can.
when. That's true. No, it's a very good point. As a matter of fact, we just had a new patient yesterday who's 38 weeks pregnant. So, I mean, you know, I adjusted her till she was 43 weeks pregnant. That's another story for another video.
That's another video too.
But yeah, it's never too late. But obviously, like anything in life, the sooner you get started, on your journey, on your mission, the better the outcome, the faster you get there.
So we could go on about this all day because we just love babies and pregnant moms so much. So we're going to call it a day right there because we know that everybody is very busy. Hopefully this gave some amazing information to you and some guidance. And we are here to answer any questions and help in any way that we can.
Private message us, any questions, anything at all you want. You can throw those questions down in the comments
And
below.
we
We'll monitor them.
even talk on the phone too. So find our information on the page there. It has our phone number and we can even have a nice conversation on the phone. So all of those, we appreciate your time. Please share this with anybody. And if it's you, then we look forward to hopefully meeting with you. And we hope that you're all having a wonderful pregnant day. Right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Have a great day, everyone, and
Go